Hello everyone, it's Steve with Aptera Owners Club. Just got done stuffing myself with Thanksgiving dinner and had some time to watch the video from Now You Know, and also wanted to update you guys on a little change that many of you might have noticed on the Aptera website. So when you log into your account on the Aptera website, they have now changed the estimated delivery date to, it used to say between 2023 and 2024. Now it says between late 2023 and 2024. And this is the same boilerplate language you're going to get whether or not you're a Paradigm Edition person or if you just reserve your Aptera today. So I think this is what everyone is seeing. So this language does not change based on your when you ordered it or where you are geographically. It's going to say between 2023 and 2044, even if you are in Europe and you've just ordered it today. Because this is what everyone is reporting that they're seeing. So what we know now is, as we've kind of speculated over the past couple of weeks with all the new information coming out, is that early 2023 deliveries are not happening. And best case scenario is going to be late 2023. So here's what they said. We are now deep into the final stage of development, Delta. As we drive solar mobility forward to you, we are continuing to raise the necessary funds to purchase equipment, tooling, and parts to ramp production. We are eager to finalize our production intent design and reveal renders of Delta by the end of the year. Our delivery time depends on many factors, including meeting our funding objectives. Once we do so, we plan to scale quickly as possible to full-scale production, beginning with our launch vehicle. The finish line is on the horizon, and along the way, we will continue to share company milestones with you and update your dashboard. Once we meet our funding objectives, we will be able to provide a more accurate delivery timeline for our reservation holders. In the meantime, we thank you for your patience and continued support. Your success is our success. Okay, so what's clear from this is they have not raised the funding yet, because they're saying once we meet our funding objectives, we will be able to provide a more accurate delivery timeline for our reservation holders. So they are, I think money is where the sticking point is at this time. So if anyone has a billionaire friend that can invest a couple of $100 million into them, I think that would be helpful for all of us. Okay, the other thing that happened, and I want to kind of go over, is this channel, Now You Know, has put up a video today called Aptera Update in Depth, and they did an excellent interview. I highly recommend you guys watch the entire thing. I thought the guys that run this channel did a great job. I will link their video down in the description, and you should watch the entire interview. It's very good. They asked the questions that we all want to know, and they did a great job. But I just wanted to cover a few of the highlights, so here we go.
The second is actually developing what we call a lamination stack. So our solar panel actually consists of 9 different layers. You may look at it and say, that doesn't look like there are 9 different layers in a stack, but solar cells are actually incredibly susceptible to environmental conditions, as I mentioned earlier. So for example, you want to protect against water vapor transmission. You don't want the cells to corrode due to what's in the air really intruding on that solar cell. So we have to use laminate materials that will block the environment from the cell, while also including layers that have very high light transmission and a very low coefficient of thermal expansion. What that's actually led us to do is create a 9-layer stack up that together offers all of the benefits that you might need for protecting the solar cells, with actually about 50% of the weight of what might be commonly used in the industry or otherwise used. So obviously we've designed a vehicle that has an efficiency first kind of mantra in the design, and so we wanted to design a curved panel that would also be lightweight so that we could lean into the efficiency of the vehicle. Where we're at today, we've passed reliability on the medium scale for 10 to 15 years. We have ongoing testing for the full-scale panels, and I'm actually sitting right in front of our low-volume production line here. So we've developed new production processes, filed, I think it's about 16 to 18 patent applications on our solar technology, and we are producing panels using our production process, trying to ensure that we have a very stable process that has a very high yield, and we're improving the process, integrating that into our what we call manufacturing execution system, so that we have really good traceability on the manufacturing line, of components, their sources. We can track down any issues in the process. And we're building a robust manufacturing process that can scale for high volume next year.
So when we talk about solar, I mean, obviously most people's in.
Okay, so they wanted. So what's clear is that they want a 9 layer stack up. That's a little more than we were thinking when I made the previous video about their stack up, but it's a 9 layer stack up. And later on in the video, they talk about how their production line is already producing 10 panels a day on their low volume production line. So I think that's very important.
Expect to get for a real world range out of their solar panels? Have you been able to get any numbers yet?
Yeah, I mean, we actually still hold to that up to about 40 miles of range. So it's definitely realistic based on what we're seeing in some of our test data.
Okay, so they have not changed the they changed their wording on their website to like an average of 30 miles a day, but they're still saying that it's up to 40 miles a day, and it sounds like they've done testing to validate this. So they've done the actual real world testing, and they feel confident that they're getting 40 miles a day of range.
You make the cells more robust, you take down their efficiency. Every layer that you put over these cells decreases their efficiency. So I think Anuj looked at the initial problem and he was like, you can take 20% of the power production right off the top because I'm going to have to put all this stuff over these cells to make them safe. And we said, well, how about we give you a couple more cells? And he's like, oh, well, that would help. So we've added to the solar cells, and he's optimized his laminates so it's not a 20% hit. And I think we've kind of struck a nice balance to where we're kind of back where we started from.
Yeah, the other note there is that you really are going to have variable output throughout the year. In the winter, when you're really not getting as much sun, the output does get reduced a little bit. But then in the summer, where you have much longer days, you'll be able to get much more solar. So I'm looking forward to some of our continued testing over the next several months. We're collecting data right now. I'm going to continue testing that in a real-world constant driver over the next several months to get that solar output.
Yeah, the cool thing is we can run kind of a baseline here, but the NREL data, National Renewable Energy Labs, has very good insolation data for all around the world. Yep. We can basically plot power production for any day of the year, any place in the world, which is a great tool for future Aptera owners.
Now, as you get closer to
Okay, so they are doing a lot of testing, and they feel confident about their amount of solar mileage that they can get out of it. And it does sound like they're adding solar panels, so maybe that longer delta design is looking more likely.
Another challenge for Anuj's team. We're like, we want all the solar. He's like, whoa, I don't want to build all the solar. The fact is that about 80% of our customers want all the solar.
Yeah.
So, we feel it's important to launch the vehicle with all the solar. That's our aspiration. We have many months to challenge Anuj's team to get that done. But as he said, we're producing 10 panels a day now. Yep. He's built all the different various panels, the hood, the dash, the roof, and the tail. He's already gone through that exercise. So I think it feels very tangible now that we won't be just delivering Apteras with solar dashes. We will be delivering Aptera with full solar from the beginning.
Now, here's a tough one.
But we've had the foresight and consultation from Sandy and Pablo and his team that have just said, start it right, start the factory to build 10,000 a year, run a second shift to build 20,000 a year. Don't start building 1 a day and then try to ramp it to 2 a day, because then you're asking everybody on the floor to double production and their heads explode. They go, I can't produce twice as much. You're crazy. Then you want to go to 4 a day. Oh my God, I'll never get to see my kids. Start the plant building 40 vehicles a day and buy all the infrastructure, buy all the equipment, buy all the tooling, train the people to build 40 a day and execute on that. I think.
Okay, so I think that to me was the most interesting part of the whole interview, is that we were thinking, at least I was thinking, that they would do a slow ramp up, and they would maybe hand build 1 or 2 and then bring a few in and kind of slow roll the assembly line. But I kind of see the logic of what Chris Anthony is saying, is that if you ask people to ramp up, it is difficult, because people do feel like it's a major increase in work and it's not doable. But if you set a goal and try to hit that goal, you probably won't hit that goal early. So it will probably be a slow. They're not going to start at 40 a day, obviously, because there's going to be glitches. But at least there's like this goal, and they have the assembly line set up to do that. And I think in order to set up to do that, they have to buy all the equipment right away, and that's what's costing a lot of money.
I think that's what we're pacing to do here in the next few months.
We
Everything on our production ramp is funding dependent. So, should the funding gods open up to us, it takes Pablo's team would tell you about 7 months to start production from the time he gets his first equipment. And a lot of those equipment.
So before they said 9 months from production, now they're saying 7 months. But you get it's around that same time frame.
It's big checks, $1 million checks to buy some of this equipment and tooling. So, we hope that we can bring the pieces of the funding puzzle together here towards the end of the year and be solidly in production in 2023. Having said that, if we build many vehicles in 2023, it depends on where you are on that list. We'll obviously deliver to California, Southern California first, because those are going to be the people that are easy to get to. And if we have early problems, we really want to take care of those customers. And we want to get feedback because, a lot of other automotive style programs design a vehicle and put a pin in it and then do not change that vehicle for years into the future. But I think giving Tesla much credit in the way that they have rolling changes in their assembly line is really cool. They find a better product, they find a better manufacturing method, they find something that's better for the user, and they just implement that. So we want to do that too. When we have the first 500 Aptera on the road, we're going to get a ton of feedback. And somebody's going to say, the position of this is ugh, or the way this feels is ugh, and hopefully we can can make that better over time and really quickly. So we think it's important to ship those first vehicles close to home, but we want to be around the world as quickly as possible because we would love to have these vehicles in Australia and in England and Europe, and we think that they will really be advertising pieces almost everywhere that they go because there's going to be nothing that's more unique driving around the streets of wherever you are than an Aptera. So we hope to ship around the nation very quickly. I would say in 2024, and then around the world, soon after. So.
Okay, so there are a couple of interesting things. They plan on implementing changes on a rolling basis on their assembly line. So it looks like the first people who get it in Southern California are in a way beta testers. And I guess everyone's a beta tester because they're going to continuously update their line to improve the vehicle. And the other thing that was interesting is they are planning on trying to send international vehicles very quickly because they feel like that's good advertising. And of course, we all agree with that. As soon as they get these things on the road, I think orders will go up, reservations will go way up because people will notice them and they'll be interested in them. But international people, I think earliest is 2025 is what you're looking at because he was saying that they're going to start rolling it out nationwide in the United States in 2024 and then international soon afterwards. So I think best case scenario, as long as they get funding, looks like late 2023 for Paradigm people. Everyone else gets the slow ramp up in 2024, and maybe you'll get yours if you're in the United States by the end of 2024 if all goes well. And the international orders and international reservation holders probably looking at 2025.
To people that we're talking to now to get the many millions of dollars that we need to buy this big equipment and such. So if you know someone in that space, we say we're only one inspired billionaire away from having this company fully funded. But it really is just that. We think we're going to meet that right person, that right fund, that right institution that says solar mobility is the future.
Okay, so again, they're reiterating. They talked about what the biggest challenge is, and it is funding. And they said they're looking at institutional investors, family offices of very wealthy individual families, and they're trying to get the quote many millions of dollars necessary to ramp this. And just for context, as we talked about before, is like Rivian raised probably on the order of $8 billion before they made it to production. and Lucid raised probably in the order of $5 to $6 billion before they made it to production. So they needed billions of dollars to make it to production. Aptera is not a full car, so it's much easier to produce, and there's less regulatory pressure on them. But still, you would think that they would need at least a tenth of what Rivian and Lucid needed to make it to production. A tenth of that would be in the order of 5 to 6 to 700 million dollars. And their latest information is that they've raised about $60 million. So maybe they're running an extremely lean operation, and maybe they can make it um, with raising a total of 100 million or maybe 200 million. But definitely 60 million is way far off from $6 to $8 billion. It's a 100 times difference. It's not even a 10 times difference. It's a 100 times difference. So you can see that the capital needs are significant, and Aptera has been running an extremely lean operation up until this point. But in order to do the tooling to build up to manufacturing 40 vehicles a day right off the bat, they're going to need a lot more money. So if you guys know a billionaire or a very wealthy family office, you should refer them to Aptera. And it looks like the engineering part is going very well. The solar testing is going very well, and I think like the suspension, everything, like all that stuff, the engineering and the design part, I think is going very well. It's just they need the money to get the tooling to get into manufacturing. And at this point, it's obvious, it's very clear, both from this video, this interview, and from this letter that they sent out on their website, that they currently do not have the funding. And once they get the funding, they can give us more accurate timeframes for delivery. But right now, they just don't have the money, so they can't order the tooling. And if they don't order the tooling and then they can't produce the vehicle. So that's where we're at. So I think it's just a purely financial problem at this point. It's not an engineering problem. I think the engineering sounds like it's going great. All right. Well, thanks for watching. Again, I recommend that you guys watch the entire interview. I think that they did an excellent job, and I will link that video below. Thanks for watching, and thanks to our supporting members, and have a great day, everyone.